Hello, everyone. Welcome to another CareAcademy webinar. We're really excited to talk about the most recent launch of the Career Path Initiative. So if you are here for the CareAcademy webinar to introduce the Career Path Initiative, you are in the right place. So we're going to go ahead and get started because we've got a lot of really great guests today. And we want to focus today primarily on your questions for SNHU, or Southern New Hampshire University, our partners in this release of the Career Path Initiative, and also within CareAcademy as well. So if you are here for this webinar, you're in the right place. I'm excited to have you. We had hundreds of people who signed up for this webinar and loads more when we announced last Tuesday. We're just thrilled with the opportunity of providing a pathway and a means of opportunity for direct care workers. Today, I will be joined by Meaghan Rajkumar, the Executive Director of Strategic Insights at Southern New Hampshire University, as well as Dr. Rick L. Mask, the Director of International Online Programs at Southern New Hampshire University, as well as our guests and my colleagues, Erica Sessions, our Compliance and Policy Manager here at CareAcademy. Next slide. So just a quick agenda. We'll do an introduction to CareAcademy, the panelists for today's conversation. We'll learn more about SNHU and why we're just thrilled that they're a partner with CareAcademy and why they're an excellent partner as well for this initiative. What exactly is the Career Path Initiative? We'll go through that. The college credits for CareAcademy training and what is entailed in that. And then we're going to get right to your questions. So we're going to manage time so we get directly to answering your questions on today's call. Next slide, please. So just a quick overview of CareAcademy. We are the #1 provider of online training for direct care workers. We're specifically designed to be mobile first and friendly. We offer portable records and compliance management for home care and home health agencies, 230 plus hours of training. I'm elated every time I read this slide. We're adding even more courses by the month. So this is an update. We have 230 hours of training. Our online dashboard, as well as customer support in both English and in Spanish, as well as API integrations with a number of partners in our ecosystem. Next slide. So by now, in pandemic, I'm sure we've all used Zoom in some way, but if you haven't, you're not familiar, no problem. If you haven't used Zoom webinars before, at the very bottom there are the audio settings, as well as the ability to chat, raise your hand, and to ask Q&A questions. So what we'd love for you to do, as you are thinking of your questions or you want to dig into a particular area that we talk about, we'd love your questions to go in our Q&A section. And so when we get to roughly about the last 30 minutes of today's webinar, we'd love to answer your questions. And we've got a whole host of folks who are ready to do that. You're going to click on Q&A to ask your questions. You can also ask anonymously. You can also ask a range of questions, and we'll make sure we answer that. Next slide. So start submitting your questions, and we will also have responses as well below. Next slide. So let's go ahead and introduce our guest today from SNHU, or Southern New Hampshire University. Next slide. Our first panelist and guest today is Meaghan Rajkumar. She works on strategic insights for Southern New Hampshire University and is the founding executive director of SNHU's Office of Integration and Transformation. She was previously Director of Research for the Innovation Center at SNHU, a senior consultant at the higher education advisory firm EduVentures, and manager of the Institute for Creative Educational Leadership at Boston University. Meaghan uses her deep expertise in higher education leadership, market dynamics, and innovation to bring together educators and leaders from diverse backgrounds with the aim of opening access to higher education for all people. She believes that everyone has a right to affordable, excellent lifelong learning experiences, and is a friend of CareAcademy and a friend of mine. Please welcome Meaghan Rajkumar. So Meaghan, if you can go ahead and turn on your video, that'd be great. Thank you so much. We're really glad to have you here. Very excited for what you're going to share today. And then our next guest, if you can go to the next slide, please, is Dr. Rick L. Mask. He is a leadership strategy consultant, program director, adjunct professor, and the author of Social Capital 2.0. For the last decade, Dr. Mask has been leading and developing teams through skills gained in the classroom and in the field. Dr. Mask focuses his work of growing human capital within organizations by utilizing neuroscience, the constructs of social capital, and the principles presented in the Leadership Challenge. Dr. Mask guides organizations to an understanding of what it takes to lead others through the removal of personal barriers and the creation of true human connection. How beautiful is that? A wonderful and esteemed guest as well. Dr. Mask, you can go ahead and turn on your video, and we're so glad to have you today as part of our panel. Awesome. Thank you so much for both joining us. And now I will let you go ahead and take it away, Meaghan, and talk to us more about SNHU, the founding principles of SNHU, and why we believe that you are a wonderful inaugural partner in this effort of providing college credits to direct care workers. Take it away.
Helen, thank you so much. It's just such a joy to be here, and we really appreciate the warm welcome. And to everyone on the line, just thank you so much for being here today. It's really humbling to be able to work with all of you to expand access to higher education for caregivers. And, I got my first COVID vaccine shot this morning. And while I was there, sitting in the chair, there I was, bracing for impact. I just thought about all of the men and women who are providing frontline care and how important their work really is in the world today. And just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here to talk with us about, how we can continue to serve this group of folks. SNHU really is thrilled to be able to recognize their talent, their experience, and their skills and contributions by awarding credit for their experience. But before we talk about the details of that, I just want to first introduce SNHU and why we're so excited to be here and why we really feel passionately about this work. The story of SNHU really intersects with my own personal career and how I got here today as well. I'm from rural Kentucky, and I've seen firsthand how higher education opportunities can really transform generations of people and really raise the quality of their life. And so I've really dedicated my career to helping expand access to higher ed as much as possible to make those opportunities available for more people. So this is really what brought me to SNHU and why I'm really honored to be here with you today. So SNHU, is a pretty remarkable institution with a pretty long, rich history of innovation, which you can see on this slide. So we really are focused on meeting learners where they are and helping remove the barriers to their education. It's really a core focus of our history and our outlook. And today we have grown from, a really small campus in New Hampshire, founded in 1941 as this accounting college, into an institution that is proudly serving over 160,000 learners today. We're also a nonprofit, which I think makes us unique in our ability to serve so many learners. We also have a beautiful campus located in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we offer over 130 different degree programs online. True to our nonprofit mission, one of the things we're really proud of is today we actually educate over 1,000 global refugees for free across 5 countries. And we also enroll thousands of learners through our nonprofit-based community partners programming. And we're continuing to find ways to expand access, such as through this partnership with CareAcademy. Next slide. And, all of this work really has grown out of our core identity. So I just want to give you guys a quick overview of our mission and why we exist. Next slide. Our mission is really to transform the lives of our learners, and truly our success is our learners' success. And we do this by providing the best support in higher education and focusing on each learner one at a time and relentlessly challenging the status quo. Next slide. And our mission really is to make the world a better place and a more just place through our work and through our relentless focus on our learners. Next slide. We really live this mission through our core values, which are to exude passion and continue to challenge the status quo, like I mentioned before, do the right thing every time, exhibit grit, and embrace diversity. And this is really, really the spirit of all of the employees at SNHU and the work we do with our learners and what we really try to help our learners learn while they're at SNHU with us.
I'm sorry, man. Can I jump in on that
Yes.
last one? I apologize.
No, go ahead, Rick.
Would you mind going back one slide? I just wanted to say here, you know, whenever I came to work at SNHU, just thinking about all of these different core values and watching them being exhibited by everyone around me, it really inspired me. You know, I was ready to come in and hit the ground running and doing these things, and I was looking at what SNHU, you know, had been doing, but you know, we have a staff that is truly dedicated to these core values. Everyone is trying to challenge the status quo on a daily basis. We're trying to look for new initiatives like what we're talking about today. You know, we're always trying to do what's best for our learners. And really just seeing everyone, I would say if I picked one of these to say, you know, what my team does or those around me is just that exhibiting grit piece. We give it our all, and we dig in, and we do everything that we can wherever we are. It's been just an amazing experience, and when we do get to initiatives like this, I really want to just in this moment just explain how SNHU really tackles these things, really wants to go after these things. Like it's so exciting for me to be here and be a part of this, just because it's just really reflective of what we're trying to do. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm just really passionate about SNHU, and I believe we're really focused on these things.
Rick, thank you so much. And actually, just for clarification, you know, Rick is an academic dean at SNHU and can speak to, you know, really how our learners through their programming learn these values every day. So Rick, thank you for adding that. So, but this isn't easy, right? You know, our learners face a lot of challenges in the world today. But we know that if we continue to break down barriers facing our learners, we'll be more readily able to help them. And, you know, I'm glad Rick jumped in. You know, this was pretty much him on his first day at SNHU. And now here we are. Next slide, please. So some of the barriers our learners face today include economic barriers. You know, there's a declining faith in education. There's dilemma of work-life balance, impact of uncontrolled variables, and future forces and challenges that are really reshaping how people do work and how people interact in education environments. And so we really see our role as, you know, as supporting our learners as they face these things and facing those barriers with them to help connect them to the opportunities that they seek.
Absolutely. You know, just in thinking about this in general, we're trying to help create a more equitable environment in education. We're trying to reach populations that not only, you know, may have a harder time interacting with the college environment, but also have a hard time envisioning themselves in the college environment. You know, much like Meaghan had grown up in rural Kentucky, I grew up in rural Tennessee, and when the thought of college even came around, when people in my high school had conversations lightly with me about it, I never thought that college was a possibility for me. I was just way too poor, and only through specific circumstances in the state of Tennessee, when they had the lottery scholarship came about, did I even think it was a possibility. And all those around me, you know, my family and friends, they had never went to college, so I didn't really see the value in it. So I think sometimes it just takes, well, for me it was luck, but specific circumstances and sometimes just a little nudge. So when we think about CareAcademy and what we're doing here, you may have people that are attempting to improve their lives through CareAcademy and through these certifications. And maybe when they realize that these certifications also give them college credit, it might be that little nudge that they needed to say, well, you know, I'm getting this college credit, so I might as well pursue the degree. I might as well keep going. So I think it's an amazing thing creating these avenues, these exit points off the highway of life here to go and learn something new and improve one's situation. So it's a really, really amazing thing that's happening here.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you jumping in on that one as well. And I think we can turn it back over to Helen now for some more details about CareAcademy and the partnership.
Absolutely, Rick. You had me getting misty-eyed over here. We are truly excited, and I really appreciate both of you sharing your own personal resolve. And for us at CareAcademy, Rick, he started something. This has been, if anything, just the something that has been sort of years and years and years of sort of thinking about, how could we get to this point of accessibility and education, especially for this direct care worker population. My parents immigrated from Nigeria specifically to pursue their education, and we're very big believers in the value of an education. I think that's what undergirds CareAcademy, and certainly what is, a founding mission and principle is the accessibility of education and the ability of education to transform lives. And so I love this slide, and I thank you so much for both of your personal stories. I'm going to keep my eyes dry while we're doing this webinar, because I think that was just beautifully embodied why we're so on fire for this opportunity, and how, this is for us both a first step in hopefully transforming and changing and providing opportunities for the lives of direct care workers who do transformational work as it is. And so if we can offer an opportunity to transform their lives and families' lives and bring more direct care workers into this field and provide a hope and a future, I'm truly amazed and really excited for that opportunity. So thank you so much for sharing. And we can go on to the next slide, Ashwin. So let's talk more about the Career Path Initiative and what this really means. We are indeed partnering with SNHU to open up new pathways to healthcare careers and helping you leverage this opportunity to bring in more direct care workers into this field. This will be one of many ways in which we seek to bring about access and opportunity to access to education and grow direct care workers and their opportunities from that. We can go to the next slide. And actually, let me go back to the last slide. I completely missed it. I'm like trying to stay in the moment. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't also highlight some of our other partners in the launch of this program. Visiting Nurses of New York, Service of New York, Best of Care, Comfort Keepers International, as well as Home Care Association of America, have been walking hands and linking arms with all of us, both SNHU and also CareAcademy in the launch of this. So I just wanted to make sure that we gave them a huge shout out. Next slide. So the Career Path Initiative really highlights, what I think we all know as we are coming out of this pandemic. There's a PHI, Paraprofessional Health Institute study that indicated that as many 7.4 million new care workers will be needed by 2029. We have every reason to believe that has been really, that need and that demand has been really exacerbated by some of the challenges and opportunities brought about by the pandemic. And so we, as part of the Career Path Initiative, we seek to bring together key just industry participants to really accelerate and grow opportunities and career opportunities. We know that leveraging such benefits as education to really upskill and create opportunities and pathways is another attractant to recruit and to retain an excellent and quality workforce, right? That's really what we're seeking to do here. And to support this effort, CareAcademy is really committed to developing a credentialing ecosystem, just beautifully aligned to what Dr. Mask and what Meaghan mentioned. There are multiple opportunities that we see emerging from this. And so this is our first big step together in terms of providing opportunities. Next slide. So why is sort of a new approach needed? We know that aside from what PHI has indicated, home care employment levels have really not rebounded pre-pandemic. There's wage stagnation, and it's forcing caregivers into difficult choices to either support families or to or not work at all, right? And then home care agencies are just reporting, and we hear it from our customers, we certainly hear it from the ecosystem, difficulties in terms of recruiting their new care workers, ensuring that folks, are showing up for shifts, right? And so we think that there are many opportunities to really bring in new people into our ecosystem, and this is one of many steps that we believe that is as partners to home care and home health agencies that we can certainly take in terms of attracting new workers into this field. Next slide. So the way that we imagine this benefiting agencies, and I'm sure that you all have thought about this, when we talked to some of our customers who got the announcement last week, they said, wow, praises on high, this is great, because we've been thinking about things like this, right? And that's what I loved hearing. That's certainly what a lot of my colleagues at CareAcademy and SNHU loved hearing, is that we are all in agreement in terms of that we need transformational opportunities to attract direct care workers. So what we hope this will help you all do, folks who are on the call, is create a new and differentiated value proposition to aid in recruiting new workers, assist with recruiting new entrants into the profession by showing them a path to continued growth, right? One of the things that we know about direct care work and working within home care, I certainly experienced this myself as a direct care worker, was the nature of the work sometimes means that direct care workers come in and out. What if we could provide a means for people to come in and to stay in, right? So that's what I want you to hold in your mind when we're talking about that. Improving retention by signaling to your existing staff your willingness to invest in their growth. Some of you all have had folks who've been, with you. We have a home care agency that we recently talked with, and they've had folks on their staff for 20 or 30 years, right? What if all of the things that they knew and the things that they're willing to learn in order to benefit clients, was aligned with an opportunity such as this one? I think that would be tremendously powerful in recognizing those staff members. And of course, demonstrating a commitment to ensuring direct care staff are equipped to deliver the best possible care for your clients. I think we've all intuited that the more education that we can receive, anyone on this call, the better that we can be in our chosen profession, right? And we know that has to be true also for direct care workers. And this is a way of making sure that folks are receiving credit for essentially learning to take better care of clients. And then, of course, empowering home care agencies to better compete with new competitors for talent. We talk about it all of the time, the emergence of sort of large tech or more distributed opportunities for minimum wage jobs and wages and sort of low to median wage jobs as well. And so this is an opportunity to really level the playing ground and provide benefits and benefit structures that will enable direct care workers. Next slide. So let's talk about the credits that are available. Next slide. So first, we had an approved class, CareAcademy's personal care orientation training, and that's applicable in every state to really aid in broadening skills and also allows direct care workers to meet some or all of the state level initial training requirements in roughly 34 states. So that includes 20 hours of CareAcademy online classes and 0 hours of in-person or practicum training. So the future of work, this is a set of classes that we released last year, are eligible. So if you were part of our future of work program or had direct care workers who took part in that program, that 20 hours of classes of that class time is eligible for 1 credit from Southern New Hampshire University. Next slide. And I do want to preface, and in fact, we have a really amazing announcement, and I'll have her come up in a minute to make the announcement, but this is an ongoing relationship, right? This is not a static relationship. And so we are in the midst of translating more classes to potentially more credit hours as there's alignment. The next set of classes that are in that have been approved are CareAcademy's HHA certification. So if you utilize CareAcademy's home health aid certification, which is applicable in over 22 states, that allows direct care workers to really broaden their reach of skills and take their careers to the next level. So if you have had direct care workers utilize our platform for that home health aid training certification, the 59 hours of online CareAcademy classes, and the 17 hours of in-person or practicum training, an end of the program knowledge exam, and the end of program competency evaluation, that would the direct care workers would be eligible for 2 credit hours at Southern New Hampshire University. And this meets, by the way, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services conditions of participation for home health aid services, right? So I'm going to actually invite a special guest and my colleague, Erica Sessions, to make a really exciting announcement. Erica, if you want to unmute and launch your video. Fantastic. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go.
Thanks so much, Helen, and Meaghan and Dr. Mask. We have just gotten another program approved. I found out this morning, it was sent last thing by end of day yesterday. So I got to my email and I found out that our dementia care certification has been approved to cover an entire class at SNHU, which is equivalent to 3 credit hours. This dementia care certification is a great program. It's 10 hours of CareAcademy online classes and 0 in-person training is required. It's approved by the Alzheimer's Association to prepare participants for the Essentials exam, which doesn't just mean they get a CareAcademy dementia care certification. It means they get it with the Alzheimer's Association after taking that exam. They can take those credits right over to SNHU.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Erica, for your hard work. I want to shout out Erica Sessions as well. She's been an intrinsic part of this, and her team have been excellent. So thank you so much, Erica. So now we are at 129, and I want to honor what I said earlier on. We know that this is a very new type of program. It's one of the many ways that CareAcademy is seeking to innovate and elevate direct care. And so now we'd love to go ahead and answer your submitted questions. And so I will open it up to my colleague, Ashwin. And Ashwin, if you could sort of bubble up any questions, and you can ask anyone on our panel today any questions regarding this opportunity, but I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Ashwin.
So we're gonna go get started. I'm seeing the first question here is, and excuse me for mispronouncing names, is from Kathleen Armany. And the first question that we have is, how many credits total can the caregivers obtain from CareAcademy classes? Helen, I'm gonna address that to you.
I'm actually going to go ahead and let Erica answer those and just do the quick refresher of the credit hours that are now available.
Certainly, we are now offering a total of 6 credit hours with SNHU. We've got the 2 credit hours for the home health aid, 1 credit hour for the future of work, and 3 credit hours for the dementia care certification, for a total of 6. And as Helen mentioned, this is just the beginning. This is an ongoing partnership, and we look forward to bringing more.
Great. And then I think we may have answered, I see Gabby's question, but I would actually love to have our Dr. Mask as well as Meaghan Rajkumar maybe take the second part of that, Gabby's question. Do you want to go ahead and read that out, Ashwin, the second part of the question?
Yes, the second part of the question is, what college credits do these credits apply to, certificate and program-wise?
Yeah, so I would love to hear more, Dr. Mask, about how we envision these credits being utilized at SNHU.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I apologize. The announcement of the new 3 credit hours got me really excited, but I honestly don't know what that applies to. But in the historical credit hours that we've obtained, the Future of Work certificate, you get one general elective credit hour, which means literally you can apply that to anything. So, you know, when as far as for me, you know, I started out in college in one degree program and shifted to another. So maybe it's not healthcare inevitably that these learners would like to pursue at the end of the day, and that's okay. They can use this hour for anything. In regards to the HHA hours, it is two elective credits for HTH, which is based in healthcare. So any of our healthcare programs would be able to accept those hours. I will say, there's another question down that I'm going to be answering when saying this, but the great thing about it, like I said, you can take those hours and apply them to anything. And I'm sorry, I just completely lost my train of thought, and I was going to answer, oh, how do these transfer in? That's what I was going to answer. My apologies. So as far as transferring in, it's really not a transfer. It's a prior learning assessment equivalent. So they can literally present these certificates, and they will receive the credit equate that I just stated. So it'd be either the 2 hours or the 1 hour, or put them together for 3 as 3 hours of elective credit. So that's essentially a course they would not have to take. It would plug right in for that.
Super. Thank you so much, Rick. There's another question I'm seeing down here, and it's coming from Brianna Tresher. And this is a question that we've been seeing a lot even before this webinar. A lot of the agencies that signed up had been asking, but what kind of financial aid options are available for caregivers who want to take part in this program? And I'm going to direct this question to either Rick or Meaghan to kind of jump in on.
So Rick, please jump in with me if I don't cover everything. So basically, whenever a learner applies to SNHU, they're automatically walked through the process of submitting for financial aid. And so every award is based on individual circumstances, and there's, you know, federal regulations that we help learners navigate all the time. And so that's just built into the process once they get started applying and enrolling with us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, you know, just kind of piggybacking on what Meaghan had said, and then from the last question, if they present us the certifications that they've received to the advisor or the admissions counselor, they'll be able to plug those in automatically. And honestly, they can run a program evaluation for them at that point in time and let them know where all these might fit. So maybe they come to us and they say, I don't really know what I want to do. Well, they could take the credit that they had earned, plug it in, and go over some things with them and see where it might help them or not be as helpful. You know, with the addition of the next 3 hours, coming in with 6 hours is outstanding. So, you know, there may be a real benefit there that it may actually shorten their time down, I mean, by 2 full classes, which would be amazing.
Helen, I see you posted a great question about Pell eligibility. So yes, I mean, Pell eligibility is part of the student financial aid process, and it's definitely a great thing to talk about with anyone who's interested in this opportunity, because oftentimes folks are eligible for Pell and they don't realize it.
Can you describe the Pell program too for the uninitiated, Meaghan?
Sure. So I'm not an SF student financial services expert, so I will do my best here. There are things I don't understand about Pell, as well as some of our internal experts at SNHU. We have a whole team that specializes in this stuff. So there really is true dedicated resources available. When we say we provide the best support, what we mean is we have folks who actually make this easy for people, which is why folks end up really liking their experience with us. So the Pell Grant program, I mean, it's a federal aid program. Learners who have a household income under a certain threshold are eligible for a Pell Grant through the federal government. And I believe it's, you know, is it, Rick, how much is it per year? I'm trying to remember the exact amount. I think I know, but I don't want to speak out of turn.
There is different amounts that you can receive.
Okay.
Depending on, they use a score called what is it, family aid contribution score, I believe, to essentially assess how much money is made in the household a year. You know, obviously, if you are out on your own, I'm talking about more traditional age college students, they would base it on your your income tax return amounts. So the amount of aid can vary, but it is completely grant-based aid. You do not have to pay it back. I myself, for better or for worse, when I started college, was living in my car. And I was on my own, obviously. So I actually received probably the maximum amount of Pell Grant, but you can get, for the University of Tennessee, it covered a lot of my cost. It was amazing because, like I said, I didn't have to pay it back, so it didn't instantly put me in debt. A lot of the times it will cover, depending on the school, obviously, it can cover up the tuition for a full semester, depending on where you're going. A lot of times it's not meant to cover housing costs and things like that. It can be used for that if you do have an excess amount of aid. Pretty much any citizen of the country is eligible. You just have to apply. And like I said, the amount just varies. I'm not sure as far as the exact amount, but there are limitations to it. I do know that. And there's also limitations to, the amount you can borrow for student loans as well, depending on the degree level. So there's a different amount. For bachelor's degree, there's a cutoff there. For a master's degree, there's a cutoff there. So I do know those things. But like I said, the eligibility piece has to be determined by assessing, the need, essentially.
So this is also a great time to mention that SNHU, because of our commitment to expanding access, we're one of the lowest cost providers in higher ed, both online and on campus. And if you do a cost comparison of our tuition rates with other providers out there, you'll definitely see the difference. And we're also a nonprofit. So I think those are some of the reasons why people have a good experience with us, is that, we really do prioritize our learners by being nonprofit, by being mission driven. And we also, we have a really good low cost option for folks. So coming in the door, if you are eligible for Pell, if you get those awards, plus you get 6 credits, you're already kind of getting this giant head start.
Excellent. I think that's exactly, one of the things that was really critical, I think, in terms of launching this partnership, is knowing that also there's a degree of accessibility, from a financial perspective, as well as making sure there are dedicated resources to helping direct care workers really access the opportunity. So really appreciate that. Ashford, I'm just gonna maybe ask these questions because I think there are a couple that came up as Meaghan and Rick were talking. So can you talk a little bit more, Meaghan, about what resources are available in terms of an admission counselor? Brianna Thresher asked a question that once they look to apply, they can call it admissions counselor. What is that process typically like? Just maybe a description of that.
Sure, absolutely. So, and happy to follow up, by the way, with anyone on the phone who is super interested in getting really specific around some of this stuff. I'd be happy to talk with anyone. So just please let us know. But yeah, essentially, you call SNHU, and every single person who's interested gets assigned a counselor. That person really helps them navigate the steps in the process. So, I think the differentiator is, I know from my own college experience, when I went to college, I had to go and, persistently contact 5 different offices, right, to get my credits transferred over. And I had to work really, really hard just to make that happen. The difference at SNHU is you call us and we do all of that running around and all of that approval work for you. And we have built a system that makes that easier for people. And I think that's really, how the process differs, if that answers your question, Brianna. But we do have a whole team of student financial services folks who specialize in that area. We do have academic advisors who specialize in helping learners navigate, their journey at SNHU. We have a whole team of career counselors who also help advise on those matters. And we have admissions, right? So those are kind of the different teams that are working with our learner. We triage that in a really effective, hopefully really convenient way. That's what we're always aiming for.
And I appreciate you, Meaghan, too, pointing out the different teams. So it's not just one team that is straining to do all of these things. Like we have specific teams for admissions. So when you're dealing with that team, they specialize in that. It's not this person that's having to check on a bunch of different, it's not an advisor who also handles financial services, who also does, it's a dedicated team for just admissions to figure out where you would fit the best. So there are people paid just for that piece of this entry puzzle into the university, which is nice.
That's great. And I'll have Ashwin, I think there are a couple more questions that have come in too, and maybe some that you may help us answer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing one question come up here, which was just asking if there are any resources for agencies to provide to their caregivers in case they have any questions or just want to provide more information about the program. So the way that you are able to provide information to your caregivers is when you onboard your agency in our onboarding page, there's a toolkit, and that toolkit is essentially what an agency is able to utilize in order to inform caregivers. So there's everything from a guide in terms of messaging, there's everything from certain email communication that can then be provided to your direct care workers to kind of explain how one would enroll for classes and then proceed to actually talking to someone at SNHU. And there's one question that I see popping up a lot, which is whether we will be sharing the slides and a recording of this webinar after the session. So before kind of proceeding to the next question, I just want to kind of reassure everyone in the audience that yes, we will be sharing slides. We will also be sharing this recording. So if you wait a couple of hours after we're done with the session, we will be sending those across to you by email. And I'm going to proceed to the next question here that's coming in from Shelby Nelson. And this is a question for you, Erica. And the question is, in viewing your state-approved training curriculums, what are the states that are required, and what is the differences in the certifications between the different states? It's a question that's coming in from Shelby Nelson.
So I will make a couple of assumptions here in answering this question. I believe it's referring to how else can these SNHU credit certification programs be used? And the answer is it's a bit nuanced. The future of work, as mentioned earlier, is applicable in several states to meet some or all training requirements for those states and license types. And we can be sure to follow up and get you a list of those. The home health aid certification, because it is compliant with CMS guidelines, can be used in any state where home health aides need to simply follow those guidelines. And again, we can get you that list of those states following the webinar as well. And for the dementia care certification, that's a great option nationally. It's applicable in all states, hypothetically internationally as well. Since it is approved by the Alzheimer's Association, it's good across the board.
I just seen a question that had just came in, and I'm sorry, I'm just excited to answer it. It's the one about international. How does this apply for international learners? Yay, international.
Yes, we want you jump the gun. Go ahead and take it. Go ahead, Rick.
So it's really neat. So essentially for our normal global campus courses, there is going to be an assumption. So if you go to SNHU, our general online population, there's an assumption that you physically live in the United States. However, if you come from an international location and you do live in the US now, they'll just transfer in just like you've always been here. It doesn't matter that you're international when you take these courses. Now, if you live in Latin America, I have amazing news for you. That's actually, I'm over the international online programs, and that is currently where the international online programs is operating. So if you're in Latin America and you receive these certifications, and according to Erica, the dementia certification, the one that just got approved, is internationally recognized. Did I hear that correct, Erica? In saying that, even if it's one that is domestically recognized, because you will be taking courses at SNHU, you can go to es.snhu.edu, and that is our page for Latin America, and you can go through that portal to come to SNHU internationally in Latin America. You can actually learn in Spanish, which I think CareAcademy offers that also. I know they have support in Spanish, and you can use these certifications to get credit through that way as well. So if you're in Latin America, I urge you, es.snhu.edu, and you'll probably end up running into me.
Thank you so much for that, and really appreciate that. There's a set of questions are really, I think that's phenomenal, and I think also the breadth of SNU is also just a really great opportunity for folks who are joining us for this program and considering joining. There are a number of questions that have come up regarding sort of how do you activate or how do you get started. So if you are a CareAcademy, current CareAcademy customer, you can go ahead and sign up, and then we will route you to make sure that you have the appropriate classes up on your dashboard, and you can sign up for the initiative. And what we'll provide, Ashwin, in lieu of sending out the recording, is how you can activate if you are a current CareAcademy customer. If you are not currently a CareAcademy customer, there are opportunities for you to obviously trial the software. There is no additional cost. I don't want to bury the lead here. There's no additional cost for utilizing the existing classes that you're already providing to your direct care workers in lieu of activating with SNU. We wanted this to be, if you are readily providing continuing education, there is no additional cost for just basically saying, I want to take these classes that are offered to me already to my direct care workers via CareAcademy, and them taking those classes, having that opportunity, and directly reaching out to SNU. So that is, I saw a question earlier about sort of what is the all-in cost. There is no built-in cost at this time for readily taking these credits and utilizing them towards an opportunity at SNU. And so I hope that answers some folks' questions. And you can directly either sign up for the initiative and we will reach out, or you can go ahead and contact and reach out to us directly at CareAcademy in order to activate. Is there anything else that I'm missing there, Ashwin, or that is worth mentioning?
We will send across that information right after the call. So in the email where you'll get both the recording as well as the slides, we will also share the link where agencies can go and register for the program.
Exactly. So Andrew and a couple other folks who had asked that question in terms of the relationship of an agency, you do have to be a CareAcademy customer and utilize our credentials in order to pass on those credentials that have been already approved within SNU. All right. Do we see any other questions that might be helpful to answer?
One question here I'm seeing, and it's one of the questions from David Kennard, who's asking, how do you transfer the credits from CareAcademy to SNU? And there's a follow-up question to that question, which is, what are the common types of programs that people take with SNU, which is coming from someone else here in the chat.
Yeah, so let's answer that in two parts. So maybe Erica, you can talk a little bit more about sort of the transfer process. And then would love either Meaghan or Rick, if you guys can pick up on sort of what examples there are of opportunities. Certainly we can imagine healthcare, but would love to know about the transfers of some of the credits being offered. So Erica, I'll let you pick it up.
Certainly. Credit transferability is going to be pretty straightforward. I think Meaghan did a really good job at framing the matriculation process at SNU and how customized it is and how good their team is at recognizing prior learning assessments, the PLA as we refer to it, in being able to recognize previous experience and other certifications such as these CareAcademy certifications. So it's pretty straightforward. You engage with SNU, their admissions teams will reach out to you and customize the communication process around you, and then they will scoop up all of the appropriate credits that can be applied both from CareAcademy as well as from previous experience, either on the job or at other educational institutions.
So just to repeat that for folks at home. So once you have earned your credits within CareAcademy, reach out to SNU, and then as part of the assessment of what credits you have, you can let them know that you have received those pre-approved credits from CareAcademy that are eligible for Southern New Hampshire University.
Exactly. Thanks, Helen.
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Erica. And Rick and Meaghan, just to even jump into that, what can folks do with these credits? So I show up to Southern New Hampshire University. I'm excited. I'm going to come wave to Rick and to Meaghan. What can I do from day one, or how can I imagine using these credits?
Well, as far as the general elective 1 credit you receive from the future of work, you literally can apply that to anything. And I literally mean anything in the associates or in the bachelor's level. There are also a number of core programs that have free electives, which means that you can take an elective in anything that you're interested in. I would have to look to verify, and I definitely can if anybody wants me to dig in for you, as far as where the HTH elective is applied. I'm assuming it can be applied as a free elective, just like anything else that's elective credit. So I think literally it could land anywhere. But when we think about programs that it might apply to, I mean, we have a BS in healthcare administration, we have a BS in community health education, a BS in health information management, a BS in health sciences, BS in healthcare administration with 2 concentrations, either in health information management or patient safety and quality. There's the nursing BSN, which is an accelerated track to the RN. There's a BS in public health and a BA in sociology with a concentration in community health, just as some examples of, directly relatable undergrad degrees. Like I say, though, I think that most of our programs, most majors in general, probably have a section for free electives. I don't know of many that don't. I can't off the top of my head. But if we're going to talk about somebody coming to us with all 6 credit hours, so right, they have the dementia cert that just got approved for the 3, and they get the 2 and the 1 from the other 2. So they come with us with 6. I would say the programs that I just listed off would be their best bet, because it's really going to plug in there nicely for them.
Fantastic. Ashwin, that was great, Rick, and really appreciate also how flexible in terms of how those credits can be applied, and the programs that you mentioned are a really nice dovetail into earning a home health aide certification as well. So really, I think that's excellent and really great. Ashwin, are there any other questions that have come in that we should go ahead and answer today?
There's 2 more questions that have just recently come into the chat. One of the questions has to do with SNHU being fully remote. And what is once a caregiver is enrolled towards SNHU, would they have to show up and provide classes in person in New Hampshire, or can they do those remotely? And this is a question, Meaghan or Rick, I'll let you guys answer.
I can take this one. Yeah, so we have fully remote options, and we have quite a number of options that are fully remote, as Rick mentioned, which is super exciting because the more options you have, available, the more likely you can find something that really fits your passion, right? We also do have an on-site option. Like if someone wanted to take courses on campus, they could do that. They could apply to our on-campus program and actually study in Manchester. But no, you do not have to come to Manchester at all. You can complete your degree 100% online if you choose to do so.
Yes, and in fact, thank you, Meaghan. I didn't even clarify. Everything I just listed out were online options, completely online. I'm sure there are specific requirements. I would say that for nursing and other things where you will have to be somewhere, maybe not New Hampshire, but you're going to have to put in time, in a setting to acquire your RN. So you would have to, there's partner with a medical center or something like that to put in your time there. But no, I don't believe it has to be in the state of New Hampshire. I think it actually would need to be in the state that you intend to be licensed in for that particular degree. But yeah, everything I listed off, those are all online. You can pursue those remotely from where you are.
That's fantastic. And again, I think, folks here, Southern New Hampshire University, and you all truly, as you mentioned earlier, Meaghan, a university with a global reach. And so, I think this is also why this is such a really opportune partnership, is that, it's especially here in the US, given the circumstances that where we are in now, and then already for the fact that if you are with CareAcademy, you're used to taking online classes. And so this is a really great opportunity to really go into that modality and as an offering from Southern New Hampshire. So really excited about that. Erica, there's a question that just came in from Malia Ko. Malia, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing either your first or your last name incorrectly. If we are a home care agency and not a home health agency, do our PCAs have access to the HHA certification?
That's a really good question. In short, it depends a lot on the state because some states allow for that CMS conditions of participation 75 hours of home health aid training, and those states that do, I think it's a great fit, largely because it is the existing ladder in the system that allows care workers to enter the industry and then train up and really expand their skills and their competence and their abilities. So in short, yes, I would definitely recommend taking a look at that list of states that we'll send out afterwards to see if your state is one of the ones included in that list that accepts CMS's federal guidelines.
That's excellent. And you can get all of those details and even more from the CareAcademy team. So if you have any additional questions or want to dig in even further to your state specific questions, Erica and her dedicated team, as well as our customer success team, would be more than happy to help. Just any sort of last thoughts or final thoughts, Meaghan and Rick, as we close up. It's 1:58, and always want to make sure that we're mindful of your time and then also our audience's time too. Meaghan, any last thoughts?
Just thank you so much for everyone who joined today. And I was smiling so big whenever folks are writing, "We love this," because I love it too. I think that you guys will really be in good hands if your folks apply to SNHU. We really try our best to take care of our people and our learners. And so anyway, just thank you so much. And if we can answer any more questions, I know Helen will get in touch with us, or you can get in touch with us directly.
And I just want to say thank you, Helen, for all you're doing. Thank everyone at CareAcademy, and Erica, thank you for digging in there with me. I know you put in a lot of time and effort. Thank y'all so much.
Well, thank you both. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Ashwin. And thank you every single person who's attended this webinar today. Giselle, we absolutely agree with you. What an amazing opportunity. We want as many folks as possible to make this opportunity come true for their direct care workers and staff. And we're happy to help in any way that we can help you launch opportunity, help you launch access to educational opportunity. If you have any questions or want to know more, please learn more at www.careacademy.com, and we're happy to help you from there. Thank you, every single person who attended today. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.